when you do try to meditate, like you said, try to empty your thoughts or try to empty your mind of any thoughts. That's when you actually do think.
Yeah, you can't avoid it, really.
Oh, you can't really avoid it, can you? Yeah. But then talking about thoughts in your head, you don't you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
you don't want to be getting that most of the time, do you?
You don't know because I mean, in some respects, we're all alone, aren't we, in terms of how our existence. I mean, it's only me, it's only us,
Yeah.
ourselves, who are inside our heads, and we know we cannot escape ourselves. Sometimes there's a feeling maybe you want to escape from this kind of I don't say prison, but we're all enclosed with our spirit, our soul, whatever is enclosed in this human frame. And the thing is, the human frame is the most incredible. We could talk for a long time about the incredible nature, that that humanity is. But there is a sense we're all alone, and not to be negative, but thoughts are quite an interesting thing that we have to deal with. And I mean, there are statistics which say we have so many millions of thoughts every day because
Mm.
they come and go, zapping in and out. But I mean, the interesting thing is, in terms of our existence and our brain,
Yeah.
only about 10%, as I understand it, has to do with our conscious life, what we're living day to day. That we're the rest of it, this incredible machine computer that is called our brain,
Yeah.
is constantly monitoring all the systems. You can analogize it with a computer, and we never know about it. The brain makes most of the decisions we actually think we've made. It
Mm.
does it without even telling us. So it's an incredible thing, is the brain. So we deal with the conscious bit when we're asleep. Our brain has a few fun and games with our dreams. Let's face it, we some of our dreams are completely ludicrous, aren't they? And I think one of my songs, actually, Wildest Dreams, going
Yeah.
back 2 or 3 years, it said about nothing ever seems weird in a dream. I mean, you could be flying a huge A380 aircraft,
Yeah.
and it's if you've always done that. And it's a good thing to think about. This thing called the brain, where does it get these ideas from in the dreams we have? They're not, sometimes they're linked, and people say they can interpret a dream,
Yeah.
but very often they make absolutely no sense at all. And it doesn't seem to occur to us in that dream that this is all a bit strange, a bit weird. So yeah, thoughts and meditation, it's a whole, you know, can of worms, isn't it, really, as to where we could go with that.
I know, you just got me thinking now because, you know, anyway, before I go into that thought, I was just thinking about that song, Wildest.
Yeah, wildest dreams.
Oh, I love it. I just love it. It's a beautiful masterpiece, by the way. Yeah.
Thank
I,
you very much.
yeah, I mean, I listened to it and I'm thinking, how does somebody sit down and then, it's like, I don't know if you've listened to certain comedians like Michael, what's his name?
McIntyre,
Is it
McIntyre, no,
yeah, that's Michael
yeah,
McIntyre. And he takes everyday, like simple everyday things,
yeah, yeah,
turns into, it turns it into this thing that I could only describe as a piece of art. It was
yeah,
said,
yeah,
there's one of his lines where he said, "Oh, my wife said, at 7 p.m. at night, and my wife said, do you want a cup of coffee?" and he said, he said to his wife, "Do you mean that thing that you drink in the morning to wake you up?" you know, and I'm thinking, so
yeah,
it took coffee, and it's just made it like,
yeah,
it's made your mind play around the the, the thing coffee, and you think, hang on a
yeah.
minute, yeah, that's what you're drinking. You don't drink that at night. And that's how I felt when I listened to that song. I listened to the Wildest Dreams, and I'm sat there thinking, hang on a minute. Yeah, you can't really be, you can read, you can really be invincible in your dreams. Like
Mm.
you could, you could be flying a B-52, for instance,
You're doing anything. Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't seem odd, does it?
I know.
Doesn't
You
seem
will start to
strange.
think to yourself, hang on a minute. I'm not in the Marines. I'm not Royal Navy. What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Absolutely. Very
I know.
strange stuff.
I know. Just on the line of thought as well. Have you ever had an idea you thought was so great, but then it turns out to be rubbish and just made you look absolutely silly?
Yeah, it's a good sort of question. I think I've always been a creative sort of person,
Right.
and I guess over the years I've come up with some ideas. I'm trying to think of some. I mean, I can probably talk about something a bit more specific on that. I remember a few years ago, and this was when my girls, my Kimberly and my Lucy, they were probably about, how old were they? It's probably about 10 years ago, this. So I suppose they were 9 or 10, 11, something like that. And we went to a place near Eastbourne, which is on the south coast.
Yeah.
As a family, we all went down there. Um, and it was a very nice place there. I was trying to think what it was called. It was something Hatch. I can't. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, we went there, and it was a nice sort of open air place, and lots of things for kids to do. And there were some animals and all the usual stuff. Bit like a not just a theme park, but a cross with a theme park and a safari park. They had lots of animals. Anyway, we did all the usual stuff. We had a nice lunch there and so on. And then after lunch, Lucy said, and she would have been about 10, I think.
Right.
She said, "Oh, she said, can we go? Can you come on the boat with me?" And I said, "What boat?" And she said, "Oh, it's a boating lake." And as per your introduction, it seemed
Yeah.
a really good idea at the time.
Right.
So I don't think Kimberly wanted to come. And anyway, these boats were quite. They were like little rowboats, but they
Yeah.
were quite small, relatively small, not a great big thing, and a couple of oars inside it. But it looked very lightweight. Anyway, we walked down to the water. We were right at the front of the queue. It just opened after lunch. So people were lining up. So we went down there first, Lucy and
Right.
I. I think about this and I'm laughing now. I wasn't laughing at the time. So there was a young woman who was the person looking after this particular. It was quite a big boating lake, so we thought this would be good. Get there. And so anyway, the girl, she sort of. I seem to remember she had a pole which she was holding the front of the boat with while Lucy got in.
Yeah.
And when she got in, I thought, God, that wobbled about a bit. And she was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So and my thought was, this woman, she's not really, she should be holding it with her hands. But anyway, you don't think too much about it. So I thought, I'll get in now. You can probably see where this is going. So it seemed a good idea that we did this. Anyway, I thought, well, okay. And I put one step in,
Yeah.
and no exaggeration, my next sensation